Hello, boys and girls. Today we are going to be multiplying by one digit. Our I can statement for today is I can multiply a number by one digit. We're also going to add an extra skill in there because I think you're pretty proficient at that, and that is multiplying a number by a number with zeros. We have a few vocabulary words. The first vocabulary word is product. Hopefully you remember product means the answer to a multiplication problem. And then we have the vocab word factor. And a factor are the numbers that we use to multiply. Let's take a brief pause now for a quick Mrs. Wells commercial break.
Hi, and welcome to Math Antics. In this video lesson, we're going to learn how to do basic multi-digit multiplication. Now this can be tricky at first, but don't get discouraged. It just might take some extra time and practice, but you'll get the hang of it. One thing I want to mention before we start is that multi-digit multiplication will be much easier for you if you memorize your basic multiplication facts. But if you don't have them memorized, then be sure to have a multiplication table handy when you're doing your practice problems. Okay. The best way to learn this is to jump right in. Let's try 137 times 5. Now as you can see, this is a 3-digit number times a 1-digit number. When you're given a problem like this, where the numbers are written side by side, you need to rewrite it in stacked form, with the ones places lined up the way we did with addition and subtraction. Now you might remember with multiplication that the order of the problem doesn't matter, so we could put whichever number we want on the top or the bottom. But it's always best to put the number with the most digits on the top and the one with the fewest digits on the bottom. There, now we draw our answer line below and we put our time symbol to the left so we don't forget that we're multiplying. Okay, now we're ready to learn the procedure for multiplying. Basically, what we're going to do is break up this big multiplication problem into a series of small multiplication problems, or steps. Those small steps involve multiplying a digit in the bottom number by a digit in the top number. Now in our problem, we only have one digit on the bottom, and we're going to multiply it by each of the digits in the top number. And since the top number has 3 digits, that means that our problem will have 3 small multiplication steps. For the first step, we multiply the bottom digit, 5, by the digit in the ones place of the top number, which is 7. We always start with the ones place and work our way from right to left. So 5 times 7 gives us 35. Now just like with addition, when we get a 2-digit answer, we have to carry the first digit to the top of the next column, because it'll be in the way of the next answer digit if we don't. So the 5 stays down here in the ones place of the answer, but the 3 gets carried up to the top of the tens place column. Now it's time for the second step. We multiply the bottom digit 5 by the next digit to the left in our top number, 3. So 5 times 3 equals 15. But wait a second, there's that 3 we carried up to the top from the last answer. What do we do with that? Well, we need to add it to the answer that we just got. That's because that 3 was supposed to go in the tens place of the answer, but just not all by itself. We had to do the second multiplication step first and see what else needed to go in that answer spot with it. And it turned out to be a 5, the second digit of the answer 15. So we have to combine the 2 digits that both go in that answer place. That's why we add the digit we carried and we end up with 18. But once again, our answer is a 2-digit number, so we leave the 8 in our answer line and we carry the 1 up to the top of the hundreds place column. Now for our third and last multiplication step. We have 5 times 1, which is just 5. But again, there's that digit we carried up above so it wouldn't be in the way. What do you think we do with that digit? Yep, we add it to the answer we got from the multiplication step. So 5 plus 1 gives us 6, and that's what goes in our answer line. Okay then, we've done all 3 of our multiplication steps, and the answer to our problem, 5 times 137, is 685. Now that wasn't so bad, was it?
Okay, now that we're back, I want us to take a look at some examples. The first example I have here for us is 593 times 1. Okay, I'm going to try and use a pen tool here to write this. Let's see if we can write 593 times 2. I chose 2 because 2 was a number I thought you knew your multiplication facts for. If you forget your multiplication facts as you're doing practice, please make sure to look up a multiplication chart. 2 times 3, hopefully you remember, is 6. And then we do 2 times 9. So we go to the next number. 2 times 9 is 18. 18 is a double-digit number. We can only write the ones digit down. So we're going to put the 8 down and carry the 1. And then next we do 2 times 5, which is 10. Carry the 1, that's 11. And we can write that down. And put your comma in there to answer 1,186. Okay, I've moved on to example number 2. Example number 2, I have a little bit higher numbers. We have 900. So we can get the 9 to come here. And 27 times 6. And so we're going to start with the 1 times the 1, 6 times 7. Once again, if you need a multiplication chart, you can go on the internet and look one up, is 42. Put the 2 down and carry the 4 to the next digit over. Now we're going to do this ones digit times the 10. 6 times 2 is 12. We always add the ones we put up there. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We only write the ones digit down, and we carry the 1, and we do 6 times 9 is 54. Add the 1 is 55. So the product to this one is 5,562. Now we have example 3. Example 3 is 765 times 8. I'm going to go back to my writing tool. Write down the problem the other way, 765. Needs to recognize my tool here, 65 times 8. Nothing's changed between school and home now, you can tell. 8 times 5 is 40. Put the 0 down, carry the 4. 8 times 6 is 48. 49, 50, 51, 52 because we add that. And 8 times 7 is 56. 56 plus 5 is 61. And put my comma in there to get my product as 6,120. The next examples are examples that are using multiples of 10. And you can remember doing some of these in the classroom. If we do 1 times 7, hopefully you remember that equals 7. Now what if we did 10 times 7? We just put a 0 on the end of that answer. So that would be 70. And the next one, maybe you guessed the pattern, it's going to be 100 times 7. And hopefully you see that it's a 7 with 2 zeros, just like the 100 has 2 zeros. The 700 has 2 zeros. And then we have 1,000 times 7, and that's 7,000, 3 zeros there, and 3 zeros there. And 10,000 times 7 is 7 times 1 is 7, and then we put the 4 zeros there. So that's using just one number. Now what if we weren't multiplying by 1 and we were multiplying by another number instead, like 6 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Now what if it was 6 times 20? You're going to write that 12 and then put the 1 0 just like we did with the 7s. And 6 times 200 is 1,200. So there's the 12 with 2 zeros just like that has it. But what if the 0 was on the 6? It still works the same way. 60 times 2, we do the whole numbers 6 and 2 times each other and then put the 1 0 on the end. What if it was on both numbers? Same thing. 6 times 2 is 12. There's 1, 2 zeros, so I have 2 zeros in my answer. And 600 times 200, there's 2 times 6 is 12. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. All right, one thing I just thought about as I was going through those problems is I didn't put one of the tricky ones in there. So I'm going to give you another problem that is one that often tricks students, and that's 4 times 5. Now the reason why that will trick them, anything that when the product ends in a 0, is because a lot of times the students think that there's a 0 there, so I don't need to put another one. So 4 times 5 is 20, and we see that product has a 0. But what if it was 4 times 50? The same as if we were doing over here, we find the product and then put a 0. So the product of 4 times 5 is 20. That does not count as a 0, so we need to put another 0 there. And so just like that, what if I did 4 times 500? We would need to do the 20 and then 2 more zeros to get 2,000. So that 0 there doesn't count as the one that we attach onto the end. All right, let me get rid of my cursor here. So in review, I want you to make sure that you've watched everything in the video, and then you're going to go back onto the assignment page and complete the quiz that I've made on the forms. It is under this video, and there's a link to the form quiz. And remember, everything that you've done with multiplication, these are the easy ones. And if you are struggling, send me a message on Teams or through Class Dojo. I hope that you enjoyed seeing me teach again, and I hope to see you back here soon. Our next video will be on multi-digit multiplication, so more than one digit on the bottom.